All right, ladies and gentlemen, strap in because we have a lot to discuss today. Okay? So, if you're coming in here unprepared for what we're about to talk about, you better get ready. Because if I'm being honest with you, this whole last 3 days has been one of the wildest I've had being around college football in a while. I don't think we've seen an offseason like this that's just been so weird, that has completely transformed what we think about right now with NIL, with college athletics, with accolades, with the portal. We got to talk about all of it, guys. And I don't think you really have grasped how big of a day we have had. You know, and it's only going to continue to grow. Like our viewership, by the way. We're already at 20 plus. But we are live, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, as always, Lucas Hill. Welcome inside the huddle, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody do us a favor. We've got a lot of you joining in right now. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and share. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure that you turn on the bell notification. Make sure you notice that every time we go live. Also, if you're watching us on X, make sure that you go ahead, hit that like, hit that repost button. Let us know where you are watching. Let us know what you think about all that we've seen throughout today in college football, to go along with all things in the portal. And I think it's so important as well to boost the algorithm, guys. It helps us out, helps you guys, just helps us continue to grow, helps get the word out. Hey, we're live talking about this. If you're watching us on Instagram, our last one, make sure you hit that like. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you follow us at Lucas_Hill_17 and turn on those freaking bell notifications. So let's go ahead. Let's kind of talk about all that we got so far in the portal. Almost forgot, ladies and gentlemen, because we wouldn't be doing this. And our every live show is brought to you by our good friends over at herosoapcompany.com. Going over to Hero Soap Company, use that promo code Huddle Up for 10% off of your first purchase. That's code Huddle Up for 10% off your first purchase. You're helping support a great company. You're helping support a great cause. Everything in between, guys. You are helping continue to get the word out about Hero Soap Company, helping veterans, helping guys. Let me just tell you, if you buy something off of Hero Soap Company, whether it be shampoo, whether it be obviously soap, whether it be conditioner, whatever it is, guys, you are helping support veterans across the world. They've been helping veterans since 2018. A part of that proceed, that every time you buy one, they will donate the money that is used to help out veterans across the world. That is an unbelievable thing. By the way, they've got new scents. They've got Over Mountain and they've got Honey and Bourbon. Two of the most highly requested ones on the herosoapcompany.com website. So if you want to snag some of those, going over to herosoapcompany.com, use code Huddle Up for 10% off. Every single live show is also brought to you by our good friends at vocalbreaks.com. Going over to vocalbreaks.com, use code LucasHill10 for 10% off of your monthly subscription when you use code LucasHill10. Vocal Breaks is the best when it comes to audio production when it comes to podcasting, and whether you're a beginner, an intermediate, or advanced guy, vocalbreaks.com is the best tool for you to use every single time you get an opportunity. By the way, guys, you like the new shirt? Just bought it off of gymshark.com. I wish they were sponsoring me. I'd be getting a buttload of money. So yeah, we gotta get a little logo reveal. But let's get into this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about all things that we got in the portal. Jadyn from Cal. Guys, let me tell you a little bit about Jadyn. I thought this guy was going to be the best running back in college football in 2025 or in 2024. I really did. I know you could say, oh, well, what about Ashton Jeanty? What about Omarion Hampton? All that stuff. Guys, Jadyn head over shoulders thought I was going to get. And by the way, he's heading to Oklahoma, which I think is a huge, huge get. Guys, imagine what would happen with this. So we talked about this yesterday that Jadyn would head into the portal. So he is now an Oklahoma Sooner. I think this is a big get for Brent Venables and company. By the way, let's go ahead and talk about this. We'll take a 2-minute break. I got to use the bathroom.
Are you a music producer, DJ, or just someone who loves to remix tracks? Well, say goodbye to messy, low-quality track separations and hello to vocalbreaks.com, the most powerful AI-driven music editing tool on the market. Unlike other separation tools, VocalBreaks harnesses the most advanced AI model available, delivering crystal clear vocals, pristine instrumentals, and an unmatched precision, all online with no software required. You can extract vocals or instrumentals with studio quality accuracy. It's perfect for remixes, mashups, karaoke, and music production, and for a faster, cleaner, and more reliable than any other service. So if you want the best, don't settle for less. Go on over to vocalbreaks.com and use code LucasHill10 now and experience the full future of AI-powered music editing. That's vocalbreaks.com using code LucasHill10.
Elevate your daily routine with the Hero Soap Company, a veteran-owned business dedicated to crafting high-quality, natural soaps right here in the U.S. of A. Each bar is handmade in Phoenix, Arizona, using premium natural ingredients sourced from American companies, ensuring a product that's both effective and environmentally conscious. With invigorating scents like peppermint and tea tree and soothing blends like lavender, there is a perfect match for everyone. But Hero Soap Company is more than just great soap. A portion of every sale is donated to charities supporting veterans and first responders, helping to give back to those who serve our communities. So visit our good friends at herosoapcompany.com today and use promo code HUDDLEUP to receive 10% off of your first purchase. Hero Soap Company, let freedom clean. Okay, I am very sorry for that long ad roll. Yeah, we've got, by the way, guys, we've got 100 plus up in this thing, by the way. So let's go ahead. We're setting up to have one of our best shows that we've had in a while. Um, but yeah, man. So let's talk a lot about what is going on with the portal. So we talked about Jadyn. He is now an Oklahoma Sooner. Dude, this is a huge, huge get for Oklahoma. And let me tell you why. Jadyn was a guy that let me remind you guys. It wasn't too long ago we were talking to him about being probably one of the best backs in college football. Took a huge drop off of 2024 from 2023. The guy was a bowling ball. I mean, the guy was used so well for a while. And I think that I don't know what happened in his final year in Cal. I don't know why everything went so poorly for him. I would love to know if anybody knows what happened. It's mind-boggling. But I think so. I know that he was injured majority of the year. You know, I know that he said on X that when was it? Back in December, he said he wasn't leaving. And then now that this news came out, obviously he did, which was reported yesterday. But let's get to what is more important and the impact that Jadyn is going to make with Oklahoma. I think that a healthy Jadyn is going to be probably a top 5 back in the SEC. What he brings in skill set wise is unimaginable. The guy is an absolute unit as an athlete. The guy can be utilized in every way, shape, or form. Guys, he can really do damage for you over on the outside. When you get him on a pitch or anything like that, guys, he is 88 and out the gate once he gets a little bit of space. I think that he can be one of those guys that is effective in the option game. I think he and John Mateer combined could be really dangerous. We all know what John Mateer brings as a quarterback when it comes to, as a dual threat quarterback, I should say, and just seeing what kind of experience the kid has, and you bring those two together, it's like a match made in heaven. You know, I think that many people need to pay attention to Oklahoma's offense this year. I know you've lost a lot of skill set over at receiver. I know you've lost a lot in the secondary. We talked with a couple of guys earlier throughout the year about Oklahoma, and we talked about what they could bring to the table. You know, it sucks for Oklahoma all that they've lost, but I will say this. I would have a guy like Park. So, yeah, we talked with Parker Toon earlier in the year, and he talked about the biggest concern was the offensive line. So, with that being a big issue, my question to you is this: as Oklahoma, now that you've had so much go right for you over the portal wise, especially on offense, you nab arguably the best quarterback in the portal, you nab the best running back in the portal. Now, how do you load up on the outside? You know, I think that offensively, you are in somewhat of a peculiar situation. I think Deion Burks can break out. I think that he does need time. I think when he's healthy, he can be an elite receiver. So with what Deion's skill set possesses, guys, think about those three in that offense. Guys, think about Ben Arbuckle coaching Jadyn Knott, coaching John Mateer, and coaching Deion Burks. Those three alone could really, really make an impact for Oklahoma. And I think Deion Burks, when he gets healthy, he can be an elite level receiver. It seems too good to be true. But guys, you got to look at the kid first. Deion Burks is an elite slot receiver. He's a guy that can go out, play the middle of the field, and get you yards after the catch. That's what you should be most concerned about, which is what you struggled to do last year, was move the football down the field effectively, mostly because of a weak offensive line. But I think that at the end of the day, guys, I think that Jadyn Knott and his skill set is very, very reminiscent of kind of what Oklahoma's offense ran at this during the second half of last year when they lost a lot of skill set guys. And I think it's going to help them significantly when it comes to how their performance is at the end of the day. I think that when you get an offense that's as loaded as what Oklahoma's can be, and by the way, guys, the portal is going to open is still open. You still got guys that you can go after now. And I think that there's more to come. There's more that you can really, really, really possess, guys. And I think that with all that has happened, with what Nico Iamaleava did, but I think that Jadyn Knott going to Oklahoma is probably the biggest move that has gone on so far since the portal opened up. Everybody's going to talk about, well, what about the Nico story? The Nico story is going to overshadow what Jadyn Knott is doing. He's transferring to another big-time SEC school. I think, but it goes to show you the demise of where Cal was. You've just lost your star quarterback and you've lost your star running back. So I think a healthy Jadyn Knott is going to be a top 5 running back in the SEC. I love what he brings to the table as an athlete. I think he can be an effective NFL back. I think he possesses all the right traits, all the right size. And I think going into next year's NFL draft, it would not surprise me if he's a top 3 back going into that draft cycle. Definitely love what he brings. I think with health-wise, it's going to knock him down a little bit. But I think apart from that, guys, this is the prototypical back that you want to see at the next level. I will say, though, kid's got to put on a little bit of size, maybe about another 5-10 pounds throughout this offseason, maybe going into next year as well. But don't be surprised if we get a Senior Bowl invite from the Senior Bowl and we get to go cover him this time next year, which I think would be an awesome thing if we got to see what Jadyn Knott has to display whenever we get to the Senior Bowl time. So let's go ahead and let's get to the main story of what we're talking about today. Sheduer Sanders and Travis Hunter are getting their jersey retired. And I think, to me, it's just a bit too soon to honor somebody. And let me tell you why. Because, and I know a lot of you are going to get mad, and that's fine, honestly. I don't care anymore. When you talk about those two, it just boggles my mind that, by the way, guys, you can call into the show as well, 225-892-2384. It boggles my mind that they're literally not even a few months removed from playing their last game at Colorado, and yet they're already getting their jersey retired. Here's my thing. I don't have a problem with Travis's. I will say it's still fairly early. I would say retire someone else's, but Sheduer's? Why? I'm going to give you a list of quarterbacks that, in my opinion, should be getting their jersey retired, getting it honored before even Sheduer comes into play. Kordell Stewart. Remember Slash? Guys, Slash was ahead of his time when it came to the quarterback position. This year, he'd be a modern-day freaking Lamar Jackson. And I think it's so unfair that a guy like Kordell Stewart, who was probably one of the most decorated players in Colorado history, he's one of the most prolific quarterbacks, set several records, most passing yards, most passes completed, most touchdowns. And I know it's not that great and all, but Kordell Stewart's legacy at Colorado shines high and above what Sheduer Sanders' was. Guys, I understand that you're talking about a guy like Sheduer who came in during a period where they were 1-11 in 2022. Then they come in, 2023. No, it was 22. And then they come in last year, they go 4-8, and then they win, 9 games this year? I understand it's a significant turnaround. But if we're going to say that, then we could be honoring the 2001 or the 2000 South Carolina Gamecocks. They went 0-11 or 0-12 during the regular season, won 8 games. And actually won a bowl game too. At least I think. But regardless, guys, they never honored Lou Holtz after his second season. Or after his after that second season. Now, I know we're talking about 2000, but guys, that just shows you the type of impact that Deion Sanders has at a program like Colorado. I think this is in part of the administration and the school itself. They hype the kids up, and now all of a sudden you're getting your jersey retired, but you're forgetting about past legends. And I just mentioned quarterbacks. Eric Bieniemy, Michael Westbrook. Who else am I missing? Because, oh my goodness, guys. I think it's a slap in the face to guys that stayed all 3 or 4 years at Colorado. And yet, we don't have the same respect for them that apparently we do for a guy like Sheduer. Travis Hunter, I understand, because he won a Heisman Trophy and he did unbelievable things throughout this season. Did unbelievable things this year. Set historical records. Done things that no other athlete has ever done in the history of college, in the history of the modern day college football. But Sheduer, no. I wouldn't even retire his jersey. What's the point? Guys, you're going to look at me and say, oh, I'm a hater. Oh, I'm a Deion hater. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm that. That's fine. But when we're talking about a guy like Sheduer, who honestly was only there for 2 seasons. Kordell Stewart was there for all 4 years of his college career. Legacy is what matters when it comes to retiring a jersey. not just stats. That's the ultimate thing that comes out of this. That will be the ultimate thing that comes out of this. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, but God, man, that's frustrating. That's frustrating to a lot of guys. A lot of guys that I have a lot of respect for. You know, I just mentioned a couple guys, but what about, guys like Dion Figures? What about Chris Hudson? I mean, Alfred Williams, Matt Russell, Daniel Graham, the famous tight end who won a couple Super Bowls with the Patriots, was a first-round pick. Doesn't seem to make sense, guys, but I guess I am the guy that doesn't like it when guys are getting honored, but which is completely untrue, by the way. But I just don't see a reason to even retire a guy like Sheduer Sanders' jersey. That's just my opinion, guys. And whether you like it or not, that's fine. I personally just don't care. But like I mentioned, legacy matters. Travis Hunter leaves a legacy. Sheduer, honestly, doesn't. And that's just me, guys. There's no legacy when I think of Sheduer Sanders. Marcus Freeman is talking about the Nico Iamaleava situation. So I think a lot of people were surprised about what happened last week with the whole divorce between well, really, it wasn't a divorce. It was more of a screw you. We're done with your BS from Tennessee. That was more of a privilege role that a guy like Nico thought he was in a position to get in and didn't even think about it. I think that this is, from what I'm hearing, it's another LeVar Ball and Lonzo situation. Because if you remember, his dad came out on Twitter and talked about how Pete Nakos was a liar. Pete Nakos is stupid. This is it. I mean, he's not telling the truth about this. It's totally false. And then the next day, Nico enters the portal and says, we're done. Or no, he didn't enter the portal, but Josh Heupel said, see you, Nico. We don't want you, bro. You're wasting our time. We're not going to spend money on you. Money that you haven't even deserved. You greedy son of a gun. And I think that's the whole thing about this situation is that I understand you're wanting to try and get a bag. But what did we tell you guys last week? Performance-based incentives are a better freaking option. I understand if dudes want to get a bag. I'm for that. Performance-based incentives are a much better thing that we need to do. Nico Iamaleava is not worth $4 million. He's not even worth $2 million. He wanted $2 million to come to Tennessee. Tennessee fought for that. They celebrated a court case win that granted them the access to it, and he stabs them in the back a couple months later. And it goes to show you the entitlement of these kids that think they're better than them, that think that they know better, that think, oh, well, I'm a hot shot. I I want that, guys. That's not it. That's not it, guys. That's not what we should be prioritizing. So, what do we do now with this situation? Well, where does Nico go? Guys, there's a lot of teams that are shutting him down. Tulane just shut him down. They need a quarterback because they're probably going to lose TJ Finley, depending on how the court case goes. Their quarterback room's looking very grim. UCLA, there's no real word on them. So there's no real, to me, I think the best position for him is probably UCLA or UNLV. That's my biggest thing that I see. Everybody's going to say, oh, USC because he's from the West Coast. Well, that's one thing, but are you confident in Jadyn Mayava as your starting quarterback? You don't, because I'll be honest with you, I'm certainly not very confident in putting Jadyn Mayava in a situation where he is taking over as my starter. Just being honest with you guys. Am I confident in UCLA pulling the trigger? I would not be surprised, but I don't know if you want to pull the trigger on that. You know, I don't know what Deshaun Foster's thinking would be. I don't know what Tino Sunseri's offense is going to look like. Knowing that he's in a brand new place. We saw what he did last year at Indiana with Curtis Rourke. But can he work with a guy like Nico, who's just all over the place? Who, to be honest with you, hasn't done really a whole lot in his first. I mean, daggum Wi-Fi. Come on, man. But no, we are back, guys. I've got the Instagram back up. I think we should be good. Let me go ahead and refresh and see what Instagram's looking like. Guys, we got a good bit of you in there. Y'all are flooding the place, huh? 250 of you guys are up in here. That's impressive. And counting, by the way. We got 262 now. I'm just picking with you. All right. Instagram's back up and running. We should be good to go. But we'll see. I do see a scenario, though, where UCLA does eventually become a player in the Nico sweepstakes, I do think that it's going to happen. It wouldn't surprise me. But like I mentioned, guys, UNLV is a very, very intriguing spot. I know that, oh, it's just UNLV. Oh, it's just this. Guys, don't hate on them. Don't hate on them running Rebels. I love what Dan and Mullen has in store over in Vegas, guys. I love what's going on out there. Guys, I've had a lot of love for Dan Mullen's offense, and I think it's going to fit well with the guy with a caliber of Nico Iamaleava. But are they going to pull the trigger on him? I am not sure, to be honest with you guys. If they do, it's a bold decision. And it's going to be one of those things where you're going to have to work your butt off. And I think that I'm not trying to say this in a mean way. Whoever, I don't know what Nico's dad's name is, but brother, please listen to me. Stay off Twitter. Tapping your thumbs is not going to help anyone. Tapping your thumbs on Twitter and freaking typing on that keypad and trying to pull out a statement like what you did on, what was it, Thursday, it ain't going to help. It just isn't. Guys, whether we like it or not, that is the bottom line when it comes to the game of football. When you get on Twitter and when you type on there and you put out an egregious statement like he did on Thursday, things go wrong. And you all of a sudden become just another freaking dude that's running his mouth. So, by the way, I just sent that to our group chat. Guys, 276 of you guys have been here, man. Y'all are crashing the stream. Well, what the heck, guys? What the heck? But no, man. Here's the whole ordeal when it comes to Nico Iamaleava. In my opportunity, no school is going to take a chance on a guy that decides to sit out of practice and decides to do things like that. That's no. You can't have that when it comes to things like this. And when it comes to so many different issues when it comes to holding out for money, you have opened the floodgate. You have basically opened Pandora's box. But I think that box is going to quickly get shut because of the consequence that just came on because of what Nico did. Because you wanted to beg for more money. Now, I hate to say this, the NCAA is going to have to get involved. Do I want the NCAA involved? No. I have a vendetta against the NCAA. I am anti-NCAA. I'll just be straight up with you guys. Do I agree with everything the NCAA says? Absolutely not. Hell no. But I do think that the powers that be, that when Mark Emmert, the then NCAA president, when he announced this with NIL being a thing now, when it went through Congress and it was passed, this opened Pandora's box. Now I think after 4 years, the box is going to start to shut a little bit. Now we're going to have to see caps on how much a player can offer, how much you can offer out of high school, negotiations and stuff. And guys, remember that bill that was proposed on last week? Remember when we were talking about how April 7th was going to be a big day in college football, college athletics? There's still no decision, by the way. But there was a proposal to abolish the NCAA. Yay, I'm going to do that. You want to spread the revenue to other athletes. Wait a minute. Let's calm it down, please. It's not happening. That's what we call socialism. And socialism, it didn't work in many different countries. You think it's going to work in college athletics? All right, man. Try your best. That's all I'm going to say. And to be honest with you, if this fails, don't be surprised. Don't come back to me and say, well, Lucas, why didn't this thing work? Why didn't this work? Why didn't that work? Guys, my dog's getting his butt tore up. But no, guys, this is ridiculous with what has been opened. We have allowed 17, 18, 19-year-old kids, my age, to think that they are worth more than what their expected value is. Guys, get real when we talk about this. Understand that we got to humble our pie and look at ourselves in the mirror and say, we ain't as good as we think we are. It's not going to happen just like that. We ain't going to get paid just like that. It just simply won't happen like that. Whether we like it or not, that's the realest thing that anybody can tell you, is that you got to humble your pie, especially when it comes to the money situation. You haven't even stepped on a collegiate field, played against your own conference's defense, and you're sitting here and telling your collectives that you're worth this amount of money. Which, by the way, is stupid. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I think people need to grow up and really, really hone in and listen to those who have been around the game for a while, whether it comes to former players, former coaches, your own, sometimes your parents, depends on who's asking for what. But that's what it's coming down to, guys. Humbling your pie. That is the bottom line. Gio Lopez, by the way, is entering the portal. So where is he going to end up going? Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if North Carolina does take a chance at him, because he's talked a lot. There was hints that he would go because I thought he entered the portal back in December or January. And everybody was like, well, maybe he's going to enter the portal. Maybe he's going to do this. And he ended up coming back. Guys, Gio Lopez is a very good quarterback. I would pick him over freaking Nico Iamaleava. So North Carolina's looking at him. I think he would be used more as a quarterback competition with him and Max Johnson. So with that, Bryce Baker's true freshman year is probably going to end up being a red shirt and all that great stuff. And speaking of, by the way, missing class or missing practice, former East Carolina on the quarterback, Jake Garcia, and he's been at multiple schools, dude. I mean, Jake Garcia, I think, has been from here was a guy that was a top 3 pocket passer coming out of high school. I remember watching him whenever he was on this TV show called Titletown High, I think. It's on Netflix, by the way. But Garcia, this is what his whole career started with. Starts at La Habra High School out in California. I think so, at least. Then he ends up going to Valdosta, transfers there. There's an eligibility issue that happens. He ends up leaving there, and then he ends up at Grayson High School for the rest of his year and ends up committing to Miami. Doesn't play a whole lot there, loses his start. I think he lost the starting job there. Then he transfers to Missouri. Then he ends up back at Then he ends up in East Carolina, which I thought was like, what the? Why is he at ECU? Didn't do a whole lot there last year. Put up some pretty bad stats. 60% completion rate, 1,400 yards, 8 to 12 touchdown to interception ratio. He just wasn't a good quarterback. So he's entering the portal again. So that obviously has nothing to do with money, I'll be honest with you. And look, Jake Garcia there, I don't think that he's going to end up being I think he'd be an FCS quarterback, to be honest with you. My question is who? Southland Conference is looking for a quarterback. Hey, might end up at McNeese. This kid's been everywhere. He's gone from freaking Miami to Missouri to East Carolina. Maybe he'll stay around the south, around that area. SEMO, Central Missouri, anything like that. I mean, there's no telling when it comes to a guy like a Jake Garcia. I'm not sure what to expect from this upcoming year for a guy like Jake Garcia, but just a little tidbit there for you. Guys, we have hit the 8:47 mark, by the way, guys. So we got a couple more minutes for you to kill for a while. So we'll go ahead and give you some more news of what is going on. Let's talk about Trinidad Chambliss. And by the way, guys, we're a week away from the NFL draft. So we'll knock out this last 10 minutes and we'll go ahead and talk some more around what's going on in college football. So Trinidad Chambliss has signed with the Ole Miss Rebels. Was at Ferris State, actually. And Ferris State, let me tell you, they've been known for nabbing a couple guys that they've been known for sending some dudes to the next level. I think my mom knows a friend that I think plays at Zach something is his name, but he went to Ferris State and played football there, and now he's with the Miami Dolphins now. He's enjoying it there. Zach Seiler is his name, by the way. But no, Seiler's been a consistent force as a defensive tackle. Dude came off a career year, had 10 sacks, 63 tackles, by the way. And so I think he can really develop in this Lane Kiffin offense. I think this is a pretty interesting get for Ole Miss because the thing about Austin Simmons is this. He's had one real start, but he's shown promise. I still think that Simmons is going to be the starter in 2025, but I think Chambliss will put a run for his money. I think that he possesses a rare quality that I don't think even Lane Kiffin has really seen, and that's the dual threat capability. I know we saw Jackson Dart do it a good bit last year, but I don't think to the point of what Chambliss did. And look, he's a really, really effective runner. I think that a guy like Chambliss can do some damage. They can create different packages for him. They can put him out into these situations and they can just really utilize his speed, utilize his athleticism off the outside, and can really develop some holes for him. Well, don't you just love the internet, by the way? All right, but we're back. But yeah, guys, that's really, really fun. Let's talk UFL. We haven't talked UFL in a while. So let's kind of do a couple of let's do a couple of things. Let's do some great opportunities that we've had going on today. And when you look at where the UFL has gone from its initial inception last year to where it is, it's declining. It's at an all-time low, to be honest with you. It's not fun. I'll just be straight up with you guys. It's not to the point where people are consistently going, and I would encourage you guys, go to the games. You're going to have a lot of fun when it comes to things like this. And guys, you got to remember, when you talk about all that happens around the league, guys, it all stems back to what happened over the course of the last year or so, and everything in between. So, guys, let's talk Arlington and Birmingham, by the way. That was a really interesting game, let me just tell you. But I think that both offenses have a lot of concerns. I think that defensively, guys, we're talking about two of the best front sevens in college in all of the UFL. I think when you look at those two and you look at where their status is, guys, they get after guys. They're consistently two of the best in the UFL when it comes to rushing the passer, when it comes to run stop, when it comes to filling in gaps. Guys, these are fundamentally sound defenses. And it all goes back to just the basic fundamentals. But I do have a lot of concerns. And it starts with Birmingham's offense. This has been a very inconsistent Birmingham offense. And I'll just be honest with you guys, it's not getting any better. Whether it be, we know why Matt Corral is your starting quarterback right now. Because a guy like Alex Magoo just can't do it. Guys, when you talk about Alex Magoo and what he's done so far this year, it's not really impressive. First game, boom, you get sacked 8 times. Most of it was your fault. You got frustrated because it wasn't going tempo. Guys, you haven't been in the UFL. You haven't been in the new UFL. It's much harder than it was whenever you were in the USFL. And I think that's significant. Very, very significant when it comes to just a lot of things when it comes with overall how your offense produces. Guys, we see Skip Holtz's offenses, and we're in awe with what we see. We're in awe with the high-flying things that we see, the quick tempo offenses. Right now, I just don't have the confidence right now in either quarterback. And look, I have nothing but love for Matt Corral. We've gone to cover the Stallions right now, but if I'm Birmingham, I am really, really concerned about where this team is at this point in time. And I think that a guy like Skip Holtz has to go in the locker room and say, this isn't championship level football. So far, Birmingham has not really played like they are a, shall we say, a winning program. They're not playing like a champion. They just aren't, guys. They just aren't. And I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty concerned about what to expect from both teams in the near future. You know, Arlington, they look great the first 2 games. Everything's clicking, but you're not balanced. You have to get back to the running game. Guys, Kalen Balaj and Day Hunter have to get more touches. Luis Perez can't throw the football 38 times in a game. Matt Corral, he can't throw the football 41 times in a game. You have to get the running game involved. Whether it be Matt Corral on the option, which was perfect last year. It worked with Adrian Martinez. You know, you haven't been able to get Ricky Person or CJ Marable involved in your offense. So you got to change something, guys. You have got to change something in your offense. You're lucky your defense was good enough to hold them to 246 yards or 256 yards of offense. That's for damn sure. I don't know, man. Houston and Memphis. Houston finally getting their first win of the year, and what a way to win it, let me tell you. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Troy Williams. Holy cow, guys. What a day for the young man. Anthony Brown got the start again. I don't know what it is with Houston not starting a guy like CJ Marable, or not CJ Marable, with not starting a guy like Nolan Richardson. You know, I know that you have issues, but I think Richardson is the more accurate, or Henderson is the more accurate quarterback. But you did get back to your ground game. You did much better with it. You got good runs from Anthony and Nolan. 25 carries, $134. You averaged 5 yards a carry. So that was huge for you. Memphis, guys, you knew that you had to isolate Jonathan Adams. You did just that. 5 catches, 42 yards. Kwame Lassiter, he got involved in the offense a good bit, but it was the E.J. Perry and Troy Williams game throughout that one. But huge, huge defensive stand for Houston on the last, really the biggest play of the ball game, even though they got outgained. It was a bad game, honestly, guys. 238 to 261 total yards. Huge, huge, huge day for the defense. You get a pick 6. I think you had 1 touchdown all day. That was it. But the one was enough. Huge victory for Houston, going on the road to Memphis and getting a massive victory, guys. So let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and quickly recap all these games before we get up out of here. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll do our keys to victory. I know I've said that the last 3 weeks, I say. And I've been so busy, guys. I've been so busy with trying to get some stuff done around the house. Been trying to get some other stuff done with school. You know what I mean? I got to be a student first, guys. So let's talk Michigan, San Antonio, probably the best game of the week. Destroying misses a potential game-tying field goal as time expires. BT Potter does it again, guys. But I will say, destroying from he made one from 55, but he just hooked one badly from 53. But big one for them. San Antonio finally got the run game involved, but Anthony McFarland has to become more involved. You know, it's the first, and I thought this was a statement game for San Antonio. I think with losing a guy like A.J. Smith, who decided to resign, but I think the offense really showed out. It was much more balanced. Kellen Mond, he didn't throw the football as much, showed a lot of checkdowns, little underneath routes that really got him comfortable. They were able to move the football down the field, and that's what was needed. I think Michigan, I don't know why Danny Etling was still starting for Michigan. I don't know what they see. Bryce Perkins needs to be your starter from now on. We've been telling you that since after week 1. Bryce Perkins brings a lot of enthusiasm to this Michigan Panthers offense, and I think it's exemplified there. He is a dual threat guy. The guy averages over almost 4 yards a carry when he runs the football. He's a dual threat. Had over 200 yards on the day. He's probably going to be my player of the week in the UFL. Just a great showing from him today, or from the other week. You know, it was huge. it was needed. I think that Michigan coming back after, back to back, after a close one 2 weeks ago against Birmingham, one that you felt like you blew a lot of opportunities in that football game, but coming back and getting a huge win over San Antonio, I think that really exemplifies a lot of things. But I think both defenses played fairly well. I thought a guy that really stood out to me throughout that game, Frank Ginda, of course, he's always going to be all over the field. He's probably my UFL player of the week, defensive player of the week, I should say. How about DC? Dude, what a statement win that was for DC, winning that football game against St. Louis. Guys, St. Louis was the number one team according to my power rankings. And, dude, they came in there and shut them up. I mean, what a hell of a win for DC and company. I mean, it was incredible just how dominant that game was from start to finish for DC. And I think you also have to look at where the offense was for St. Louis. Where did the offense go? Guys, Manny Wilkins, worst game of his year. 16 to 25, 29, a buck 37, a touchdown, 3 interceptions, got sacked 3 times. He was running for his life majority of the time. Where was Ja'Cour Pearson? Where was Jarvian Howard? Where was Jacob Sailors? They were isolated. DC's defense is the best in college foot in the UFL right now. Forget that you lost Greg Williams. Guess what? His son is going to be just fine taking over the defensive play calling. Jordan Tiamu, heck of a game, 17 of 37, 243, 3 touchdowns. Had the 2 interceptions. But Abram Smith and Deion Jackson, both combining for over 100 yards. Both were dominant on the ground. Really did a great job of just methodically moving down the field. But Sailor was involved with the receiving side of things. Crazy enough. 7 catches, 91 and 1. Frank Darby, 1 catch for 35. So, and when you subtract 6 by 7 that was completed, you had 7 catches for Jacob Sailors, 9 for the rest of the team. You just can't have that, guys. I mean, I don't understand why that has happened. By the way, does anybody have an injury update over at St. Louis? Because we got to know real fast before we get up out of here, because we're going to end it after this. By the way, DC dominated from start to finish. That defense is going to get a couple pancakes. Actually, Andre Mincy is my player of the week on the defensive side of the ball. 2 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. 1 he ended up recovering. This is what we expected from guys like that. Guys like DeAndre Baker. We told you DC was going to come in and have one of the best defenses in the UFL this year. And boy, are you proving it over and over again, guys. This is an incredible, incredible game. Full team that we have, that what DC is showing this year. What a revival year, too. Everything that they've been through, too. And I think it's so intriguing, guys, that despite closing out last year really poorly and everything that happened in between, you lose your head coach, you lose your defensive coordinator, and you still come out and you're dominating pretty consistently. St. Louis, where's Hakeem Butler? He's got to come back soon, guys. Guys, where has Hakeem Butler been? When he gets back healthy, he can be the most dominant wide receiver in the game. But if he's not in the game, it's going to be a struggle for them. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for tonight. We've hit the hour mark. We've hit way past the hour mark. But appreciate you guys. Joining in on the show, guys. Really, really, really had a blast today. This is probably my favorite show I've done in a while. A lot to talk about. Had a lot to discuss today. But final tally, we had 373 join in. And looking at our Instagram, we had about 9 of you show up today, so that'll total count 381. But I guarantee you, by tomorrow, we're going to have close to 500 viewers. Wouldn't surprise me. But guys, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Y'all have a great, beautiful day.